what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Forgiven AF Podcast. Remember, we use this as marketing material for our nonprofit Second Chance Mentors. And now with the branch of Fresh Out, we use this to kind of push out our platform so people know kind of what's going on, how they can be involved. It's just kind of a good outlet for us to be able to try to give back and hopefully inspire some hope. That's really kind of why we do this. Yep. My name is Sean Surface. I'm your host. Bryan is on our... You guys, he's been on the show. This is third time, so it's going to be a staple thing we do kind of once a month. Yeah. Bryan is on the board of directors with me for the mentorship and the Fresh Outside. We're really trying to get the Fresh Outside going. That's kind of like our next big task. We have a good amount of boys right now in the mentorship program. We actually took them 2 weeks ago, and got them all shoes for back to school. All the kids,
nice shoes at that.
Yeah, the kids that have done their community service, and they're not just handouts to these kids. Like, they got to do their community service. They have to show up to the events. They really do earn them. So it's kind of cool. Like, I feel like when someone earns something, they have a little bit more confidence in it rather than just handouts, you know?
Yeah, it gives them self-confidence. It gives them self-esteem that, and it gives them a win, right? Like, I set out with purpose, I accomplished this, and this is the fruits of my effort.
So good. And we want the kids to realize that, you put in a little bit of work, you get rewarded for it. That's kind of how life is,
Absolutely.
Super excited about this episode. So what we're going to do today is just I always ask, hey, if you guys have any questions, you can always email us at forgivenafpodcast@gmail.com. And what we're doing today is, because I haven't done it in a while, is I just went through all the questions we've got over the past few months. And so we're going to just kind of back and forth, bounce these questions and just kind of answer and we're just going to run it this way. So
a lot of really good questions too. I think that are thought-provoking, gives you a lot of information as to what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the motivation behind it all.
Exactly. All that. And that's exactly a good explanation. So check this out. The first one that I got, Bryan, is when was the turning point in your life that you realized that you wanted to change?
Well, I've always wanted to change, but it was the pivotal moment for me was sitting in prison now for the second time. And I was given the gift of desperation, man. I was just so desperate to want to live different, to not keep hurting my kids and not keep letting down my family and not being so miserable and hopeless that, man, it was sitting in prison. And I was like, dude, no more. Like, I'll do whatever it takes, however it takes, how long it takes. It didn't matter. You could have told me to do something that was impossible. I promise you I'd have done it.
You found a way to get it done.
I was that dedicated to not living like that no more.
And it sounds cliche, but mine's totally the same thing. While I was sitting in, and keep in mind, when I got in trouble and had to do 6 years in prison, I actually thought that I was going to get probation. Like, I didn't realize, I always sold drugs and just said, hey, the first time I get caught up, it's no big deal. They'll just give me probation.
A little slap on the wrist.
Because I thought that's how it worked. I didn't know the difference between the state and the federal government. So I remember I'm sitting in my pre-sentencing. They take you in the feds and you wait in like a pre-sentencing investigation hold. And my PSI, my pre-sentence investigation, came back that they were trying to give me 19 years in federal prison. And I was like, not deserving it. Like, I definitely deserve some time, but I hadn't, because what they do is they take everyone that told on you and they add up all the drugs that they're saying that these people say that you got, and then they literally charge you with that much. So they charged me with like 7 keys. Like,
that's a horror story, because you're not even caught with anything, but yet you're doing the time as if you were.
Exactly. And that's how mine went. So anyways, the biggest thing for me was my son was 1, and I was like, okay. And being a good father was something that was super important to me because I had an amazing father. Like, there's not a single thing I can look back and say that I wish my dad did differently. So that's something that I wanted to be for my son. So that was my biggest changing turning point, was like, I was thinking I had to do 12 or 13 years at first because I was sentenced to that. Yeah. So I did my entire bid every day in prison like I was getting out soon. Like, that's how I did my time. Like, I don't believe that I'm going to do these 13 years. And sure enough, I got, I won an appeal, and Obama was president back then, and they packed something or enacted something that gave everyone like 2 years off or whatever, and it shortened up. But I guess all that to say, my turning point was really like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to still be a father.
Yeah. And how important that is. And dude, I don't know if you hear it enough, dude, but you're an amazing dad, dude. I idolize, that's not the right word. I look up to the type of father you are, dude. And I'm super impressed with how present you are and how much you love your son and how much you're there for your son. And I aspire to be that way with my kids.
I feel like you are. But thank you for that. That's a huge compliment. It's one of my things that I need to learn how to do is be able to take a compliment instead of like starting to like, I always feel like I have to downplay them. Like, no, you know, but it's hard. Being a father is super hard, especially, you know, it's like the first time we've done it. You know what I mean?
For
like
real, seriously.
I mean, we don't have a big gap in the age of our kids. No. So it's a challenge, and it's something that we're just going to have to keep figuring out day by day.
Day by day. Every day is a new set of issues and circumstances and problems to overcome. And yeah, absolutely.
What do you got? You got one on there?
Yeah. So the first question is, what message do you hope your story sends to others who may feel stuck or written off?
That's good. I'm just going to approach it from maybe people that are incarcerated and feel like, you know, but I guess it could be anyone. I guess my thing is that like, it's not too late. It's never too late to turn around and still make something successful of yourself. Right. Like literally when I was in prison, my goal was to make $12.50 an hour. I wanted to make $500 a week, get in a little efficiency apartment, get a $400 car note, like, and get custody of my son back. Like those were my goals. Like I didn't care about big houses, flashy cars, all that type of stuff. I was like, I just want to make $12.50 an hour. So I guess what I'm trying to say is keep your, what would it be? Like your goals higher than like, don't let prison or wherever like knock you all the way down to where you feel like you don't have a purpose anymore. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, that's really good. Yeah. Mine would be kind of the same thing. I hope that my message just delivers that there's always hope. You know, I look at, you know, where I was to where I'm at today and I'm baffled. And a word I wanted to use on the podcast today, because I think it's cool, is befuddled. I was befuddled.
Is that a real word?
It is, absolutely. You know, where I was, where I'm at today, and, you know, like it's nothing short of a miracle for where I'm at. And so my message, I hope, reaches people to let them know that there is hope. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how far you've backslid. You can turn your life around, you know, and God loves messes like me, man. Yeah. He's able to use messes like me to turn into big things. So, and I'm living proof of that. So I hope other people can really take that to heart, that there is still hope.
That's good. And it's so true, right? Because it's easy to just feel like, oh, I've done too much. I don't have it. Yeah. God can't use me anymore. Or I don't have any purpose. I'm just in the way. But yeah, all those thoughts are from the devil, and you have to just find a way to get rid of that and know that you still have a purpose. If you're still breathing on this earth, I don't care if you have life in prison, you can still have a major purpose. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Like, your ministry is wherever you go. It doesn't matter if you're at the gym, if you're in a prison cell, it doesn't matter where you go. If you can be the light in a dark place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one. It's kind of funny. We just kind of hit this. Have you had any moments where you've doubted yourself, and how did you overcome it?
Oh man. If I had a nickel for every time I doubted myself, like I said, I was given that gift of desperation. So I had fear, I had doubts, there's no way this is going to happen for me, you know, thinking of my own worth and my own value and everything else. Like this kind of life is not possible. And somehow I was God gave me courage. He gave me strength to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I believe the philosophy that, you know, even baby steps is still progress. As long as you're moving forward and not just staying still, man, like you're doing something.
That's good.
You know?
That's really good. Let me read the question again. How have you, so doubted myself. Mine would be, and this might be a little bit deeper but would be, I've dealt with a lot of imposter syndrome since I've been out of prison. Like, while I was in prison, I lost a bunch of weight, got a certification as a personal trainer, came home within a year. This is not me. This is God and the woman that I married. I owned my own gym, right? And like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I made it happen and I made it work, but I always felt like, who are you to open your own gym? Like, you don't have enough experience, or you don't know enough about, you know, nutrition yet, or you're just have been in prison as a personal trainer. You know what I mean? Like, so I dealt with that, overcame it. Have a successful gym, still running, still going strong. I've learned a lot over time, and now it's there. So same thing with roofing, right? Bryan got me into selling roofing, and literally like I'm out there within a week doing it by myself.
Yeah.
Don't even know all the ins and outs. And I'm feeling like like imposter syndrome there. Like, who am I acting like I know? And next thing you know, instead of letting that hold me down, I said, you know what? I'm going to open my own company. Like double down on the imposter syndrome. So like,
and killing it, by the way.
I'm doing good. It's good. It's a huge blessing. And I don't know where we would be if it wasn't for your help with that. But that was, so I think that there's a lot of times where I've doubted myself and just had to figure out how to like push through it. And like Bryan said, put one foot in front of the other in the mission. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of people in life that let that doubt just completely stop them. And that's like, you're just giving up on so much that could turn into something.
And there's
special.
something about leaning into God, because if I rely on my own strength, dude, I'm going to fail every time. But when I press into God, keep up in prayer, stay in the word, man, like all of a sudden I feel like a warrior. You know what I mean? Like I can accomplish anything. All right. So next question we have is, what's next for your businesses and your personal growth?
Business. Okay. So, man, I went to a conference last weekend called Win the Storm. And like, it might even be too premature to talk about it because I don't have all the ducks in a row, but I want to create a way for people, for like a group of guys. Like roofing is such a awesome career for someone who is getting out of prison and wants to like be able to make real money. You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with making, you know, a regular hourly pay. Like I'm not against that, but
there's more that's available.
There's so much more. And it's not like, it's not brain surgery to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's really, and no one has ever, when I've sold a roof, no one has ever been like, do you have a background or are you a felon? Like it's never even come up. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I want to try to find a way to incorporate guys getting out of prison and putting them into like a training program to teach them how to sell roofs, you know what I mean? Or something in this local area. That's something that I wanted for my business. And just kind of roofing wise is building a sales team, an actual like team of guys. Yeah. But I want there to be a culture in it of like all of our salesmen, like, and I know this is just kind of a dream, right? And I'm not saying this could be perfect, but whether you have the culture of, this is why I call it F4, where we pray together, we work out, or we go to church together, we love God together, faith, family, you know, we put, you know, our family is important, the fitness aspect where we all work out together and care about our health together, and then our finances and we make money together, faith, family, fitness, and finances. Like I want that to be like our culture. Yeah. You see what I mean? So where you almost have like a fraternity of guys. Now I know that this is probably not as easy said as, you know what I mean, as it sounds in my head, but I just feel like there could be
Is it not?
I don't know. I
mean, because, you know, like I feel like God's put this on your heart for a reason. You know, we talked about it last night at men's group, but you know, there's a lot of ideas floating around, you know, and then there's some that, you know, it's kind of like when we started talking about Fresh Out. When we started talking about Fresh Out, dude, my inner man, my spirit started doing somersaults and backflips, punching me in the gut. Like, dude, you're doing this. You know what I mean? Like I knew this was something I wanted to pursue. And I kind of feel the same way about the roofing culture. I think that's not impossible. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means, but I also don't think it's going to be so difficult and challenging that it'll fail. Yeah, I called a couple of people who are in that space of the halfway house, kind of like sober living / you know, and I've gotten some, you know, advice both ways. Yes, that's a great idea that could work. Or also, hey, think about this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. That's just kind of the next thing I thought of as far as like business wise. I want the mentorship to continue to grow. I want the gym to continue to grow. What we've done with the gym is we've outsourced all of our sales and marketing now. Smart. Because it was something that I was dropping the ball on. And how can you grow a gym without sales and marketing? Like those are the two. So that's been really big for us. And it's something that I've learned a lot in this because I've had to take my hand off of it a little bit. I'm very like, I want to run it. I want to control it. I want everything to be. But the problem is then I have all these details that I'm trying to deal with and it takes me away from being more productive in other places. Yeah. Well, you're one man. You only got 24 hours. So I had to learn how to delegate a little bit and I'm not good at it. It's kind of the exact same way as we're like, hey, give it to God. And I'm like, okay. So imagine that, you know, you're like, okay, I'll give it to God. But what, an hour later, we've just taken it back and we're stressing over it again. I'm like that with the business. I'm like, hey, I want you to handle this, this, and this. And then I see one thing on a post or something I don't like. And I'm like, no, here, give it. Never mind. I got this. Yeah. It's like my wife does me when I fold the towels. Fold the towels for me. I do them. And then she's like, no. That's not how Let me do those right. That's funny. All right. Yeah. For me, you know, I have a lot of businesses that I'm a part of. So, you know, just polishing those, I think for me, refining them. I've been in business now for a few years. I've learned some things. I've failed at some things and I want to do better at managing, I think, my businesses, my time, stuff like that. But personal growth, I need to be, I'd like to be a better father. I'd like to be a better husband. Those are things that I have failed at time and time again for many, many years. So that's my personal growth goals, is to become the supportive leader that I'm supposed to be.
That's good. And I didn't go into the personal growth side of it, but my number one thing would be to open up my Bible more. Like, it's been the same, probably one thing for the past 10 years since I became, you know what I mean? Since I've really started following God. For some reason, I just have like this. So, and it's better than any self-help book. It's better than any, you know what I mean? Like, there's
100%.
And I'll find myself reading these self-help, like motivational type books.
And forgetting dust on the Bible.
And yeah, literally like that song. Yeah, I like that song too.
Dust on the Bible and brand new iPhones.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
especially because our phones have Bibles on them.
Yeah, right. So no, I just want to work on that relationship. I want it to be, that's just another area where I talk about God a lot. I love the Lord. I'm very faithful, but I feel like it's another imposter syndrome location for me. Yeah. Where I'm like, you're talking about God all the time. You're posting about God, but when are you in your word? Like, that's what I feel like I hear to myself all the time. Yeah.
That's conviction, dude. I don't think that's condemnation. Condemnation is not from God. That's conviction. Like, he wants that relationship with you. He wants to spend that intimate time with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, so we were at church on Sunday and the pastor said something about, who's your one friend that has God on speed dial? And my entire row turned around and looked at me, started pointing at me and laughing. And I sat there and I just kind of cherished that moment, right? Because I'm like, that's the fruit of all the things that I do that people don't see, that waking up at 5 a.m. and cracking the Bible, spending time journaling, spending time in prayer, all those things that kind of go unnoticed. But the fruit of that is that people see, like, man, that guy loves God. God loves him because God talks to him all the time. So it was kind of a moment of humility and a sense of just awe, and thankfulness.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to be acknowledged and known for. You know what I mean?
Rather than what I used to be known for, and we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, we already know.
All right.
I think, who's it? Is it on me or you?
I think you're up.
How do you handle, and I like this one a lot, how do you handle the stigma of being labeled an ex-con or a felon?
You don't want to know what's funny? If I think about that question, you know who labels me more a felon and an ex-con more than anybody else?
You?
Me.
Yeah.
Because you're right, dude. I've never been on a job site where somebody's like, "What kind of background do you have? How many times you been locked up?" I've never been at church and somebody said, "You look like an inmate. Where did you do time?" I do that to myself, and I think that comes from years of being incarcerated and being called inmate and, the system kind of beating you down. But, if I look at it, it doesn't, the only thing that I can think of that it really kind of hinders me or holds me back is when either I'm trying to travel and I need to go get a travel pass from my parole officer, which, praise God, ends November 20th, or when it's time to rent something, a car, a house, or anything like that. That's the only time it really hinders me. So the only stigma I have is my own self-doubt, right? My own unworthiness, my own knowledge of what I used to be, and trying to project that into who I am today, which today, I mean, yes, I did time, but I really need to stop labeling myself like I'm just a felon and an ex-addict, now I'm a business owner, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a husband. Those are the words I need to use to label myself. So I think the only person that causes that stigma or creates that stigma is myself.
I think that's a good answer. And I agree totally. I think that one thing that I do, because I'm always worried about someone finding out and then like it being like they figured it out.
Yeah.
Is I'm almost like way like, I don't know if you can be too open with it, but I literally meet people like, "Hi, I'm Sean. I'm a felon." You know what I mean? Like, because I want them to hear from me and not be like, "Hey,
not Google search you."
Yeah, exactly. And then like, why do you keep that? Why is that a secret? If I just put it out there, like I remember when I first opened this gym, I say this gym because this studio is a room in the gym that we have here. And I remember I started hearing whispers of, "Hey, did you know that guy was in prison a couple of years ago?" And someone came and asked me, "Sean, were you really in prison?"
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I got scared and I was like, "Oh my God, they're all going to leave when they find out that I was in prison." And I said, "You know what? No." And I went to Facebook and made an entire, I'm talking, this is before I like even used Facebook. This was like, I don't, And I made this whole video of my entire testimony and just put it out there. Cause I'm like, if I put it out there, then it can't be used against me in a negative way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So but another thing is, I feel like I even use it as part of my identity now. Like it's part of who I am. Like I'm not at all ashamed of it. I just spin it and use it for my good. Like, because
it's a story of redemption, right? It's not like a story of, I mean, there's a lot of tragedy and stuff like that, but it is a story of hope and a future, that's absolutely a good point to make. Like, this doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm an ex-con or I'm a felon and look at all the things that it harms.
Yeah, woe is me. I'm an ex-felon. I like to say I'm an ex-con or ex-felon. Now, look what
at me now.
Like, look what's going on around me. Like, there's two different ways. And another thing is, don't be scared of that. Like if you're someone who has that as a background too, and is like going through life worried about people finding out, like believe it or not, I would try that aspect, try to spin it the way that I say and try to be super open with it. Yeah. And people want to help. Like it's weird. Like people want to help. People are looking in life of ways to help people, believe it or not. It's not everybody. We still have, but when someone finds something like that out, they're like, man, this guy seems like a good guy. And then he finds out you're a felon. Now that person's like, oh, you know what? Let me see if I can help this guy. Yeah. It's not that same like stipulation like it used to be. Yeah.
Well, to steal a line from our friend J. Dan Gum, don't let your background hold you back. Let it pay you back.
Yeah.
Right? And that makes a lot of sense. The more I think about it and dwell on that, like you're right. Cause you can use your background as an excuse to fail. You can use your background as an excuse to not attempt things for fear, because of fear. I'm scared I'm not going to succeed because of that. Or you can use it like Sean does and say, yeah, I'm an ex-felon, but look what I've done since. Man, God is good. Yeah. I've created this. I've gotten this. God's brought my son back to me and, this, that, and the other. So that makes a lot of sense.
Another thing with the way that we're open about it is think about how many people have come like through church or through men's groups that we have or just come across us, saw how open with it we are, and then be able to be comfortable and be like, yo, man, you know what? A lot of people don't talk about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they might have done 3 years for a DUI back when they were 26, whatever. That's out of their life. They forget about it. Don't mention it. Then we come around and we're like, yeah, prison, we saved our life. And they're like, yeah, I went to prison too. You know what I mean? Like it kind of shows people that they don't have to like.
It does provide a sense of security. Yeah. Walking into church this Sunday, I walk in, there's hardly anybody there because, we're there to serve at 8 o'clock in the morning. Man, I see a dude with face tattoos and head tattoos and, Aberd looks at me and I'm like, I already see him. I'm going to go talk to him. I immediately go to him. I'm like, hey, man, they don't let guys that you look like you in this church. You know that, right? He's like, he just kind of laughed and, we started talking and he had just gotten out like a month and a half ago. And then in that conversation, as he was leaving church, giving each other some love and stuff, they snapped a picture of it, made the Facebook reel for our church. Cool. Yeah. You see two tattooed guys, at church, man. And that's one thing I love about our church too, is like, there's no judgment, man. Like I thought going out, coming into church, looking the way I look, people would look at me cross-eyed and kind of avoid me on a pew and stuff like that. But man, they are the most loving a bunch of people, non-judgmental. And you're right. It gives other people a place to feel safe and sharing their stuff.
I think so too.
All right. So what resources, mentors, or support system helped you on your journey?
Man, that's a good question. And I believe in the power of mentorship. Like I think it's the biggest cheat code to success. Yeah. I honestly think that like who you surround yourself with, it will completely determine what you're going to eventually become. For instance, they say the top 5 people that you associate with, if you take their income, add it all together and divide it by 5, that's going to be like more than likely your income level. Yeah. So I've had a ton of mentors. I like getting together with older, smarter, just people who have more experience, and I'll ask a ton of questions. And because I just believe in the power of, and then I straight up, there's people that, and sometimes my mentors run in seasons, right? Like sometimes I'll have this guy will be my mentor for a little bit and then I'll need to move on to something different. And you know what I mean? Like it kind of depends on what I'm looking for. But what I've learned to do is when I find someone that has something that I want, I will go to that person and I'll straight up ask them like, hey, I would love to learn from you. Would you mind mentoring me? Or is there a way that we could get together? Even if it's just a one-time thing, can we get together and I can ask you these questions? And honestly, like, people think that it's kind of annoying of them to ask, but it makes the person who you're asking even feel special.
Man, low key. That's how we became friends. I don't know if you know that, but I hung around you for a minute and I was like, dude, I want what this dude has, and that's how, I just kind of forced myself into friendship with you.
No, it wasn't forced at all. But resources, I would say in prison, I took advantage of every single opportunity that was available. I took every parenting class that they had. I never missed church. I was in Bible studies. I lost 100 pounds and got 4 personal training certifications. I would train people in the yard. I taught GED in the little library from 8 to 10 every morning, like teaching grown men how to read. Like basically anything that was offered, I was like, dude, sign me up for that, sign me up for that, sign me up for that. And when I went back on my appeal and the judge saw all that stuff, he took me from the top of my guidelines to the bottom of the next guidelines. Like I got like a huge drop because he was like, this is what he literally said. And I had the toughest judge that you can have in Fort Worth, Hingham High McBride. And he said, he goes, this is what
prison should do.
This is what it's supposed to look like. And he was like, so it was a cool thing. But there's some other resource I'm going to leave to you because that's more of like your, as far as like the groups and stuff like that. But that's kind of my thing. Church, the biggest resource has been the church, and the men I've met in church has been my biggest resource. Yeah.
So for me, it's I don't think there's enough time on this podcast to list all of them, but as far as resources go, NA, AA, they definitely helped me stay sober when I got out. Going into men's groups, that helped a lot. Surrounding myself with guys like you, guys that were pursuing Jesus, that may have kind of a troubled background, right? Not all of us in our group have been to prison, but we've all dealt with issues in life, right? So, I definitely want to highlight and piggyback that, I wanted to surround myself with guys that are guys I aspire to be like, guys that were pursuing God, guys that were sober, guys that were doing well with their businesses, guys that were doing well as parents, as husbands, and stuff like that. The resources offered by the state, man, I took full advantage of. I was able to get health insurance fresh out of prison. I was able to get, food stamps till I was able to get a couple of paychecks under my belt, and stuff like that. Mentors, kind of like you, man, I've had a few. There's not enough time to name them all, but they've all come at the right time, I think, by divine appointment. And then when I level up, so to speak, that kind of relationship is kind of fades. And then the next person who I want to level up to be like, they come into my life, and then I end up kind of learning from them. And support systems, man. I am one of the blessed people that when I went to prison, dude, I have a huge support system. I had a family that supported me along the way. I had kids that loved me and an ex-wife that reminded my kids that I love them. And then getting out, I've had so many people that have been on my side and poured into me. My current wife now is my biggest support system. And again, my family, I can't say enough good things about them. My dad, my brother, my sister, their spouses, they've all believed in me and just kept encouraging me and guiding me and loving me along the way, no matter what. Good. Yeah.
That's super important. I have one more. How has your definition of success changed after being released from prison?
That's kind of funny. So, kind of like you, man, when I was in prison, man, all I wanted to do was get out and stay out, right? If I was making enough money to have a car, not a necessarily nice car, but a reliable car, to pay my bills, that's all I cared about. That was my level of success, right? Am I sober? And am I staying out of the way?
Yeah.
Since getting out, my level of success or my definition of success obviously has changed. Once I was able to accomplish that, then it was like having a successful and a happy marriage, getting my kids back, and now I have custody of my kids. So it's like the goalpost constantly changes, constantly moves. The more I achieve, or the more that I'm able to do and accomplish, then it's like the next level, And at the point I'm at now, even if I never accomplished anything else, I've done a lot and been given way more than I ever deserved. So I'm just grateful that, my definition has changed based on my circumstances.
Yeah, that's good. I'd say mine is like 3 parts. Before prison, my success was jewelry, big rims, a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
That was my definition of success, right? In prison, it got to where I was like, I just want to make $12.50 an hour. Like, I just want to have a way to pay, like, honestly, like it was that. My goal was to make $500 a week, right?
Yeah.
And then now my vision of success is completely different than all of them. Now it's like, can I take my son to school every day? Yeah. Can I go home and have lunch with my wife? Or can I, like, if I don't want to go to work, can I not go to work? You see what I'm saying? Like, freedom. It's more of like my time, my freedom, my time freedom, my family freedom. Like, I'm able to do what I want with my family. I don't have to miss anything, miss any events. I still like nice things. You know what I mean? Like, we have a beautiful home, we drive nice cars, but mine's not like I want a Maserati and a Bentley. Like, it's,
that doesn't define you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is that, they're not a success unless they have those things. Yeah. Where it's like, yes, it's nice to have those things, but that doesn't define you.
Yeah. I really don't. Like, my goal is not to have actually, I think it's stupid. I think cars are the worst depreciating asset that you can own.
Worst investment. Yeah. Unless you have that kind of money, where you have that kind of spending capital and you can just
and that would be nice. I'm not against making a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Like I just want to put
God,
that.
Did you hear that? We're okay with this.
I'm not against making a bunch of money. Like, because I'm very, whatever, this might sound braggadocious, but I'm very faithful with our money. Like, 10% of every penny that comes into our household is put back into the kingdom.
100%.
Like, there's no missing that. Like,
non-negotiable.
We do not miss that.
I agree.
And it's not put it back into the kingdom like, oh, I have to tithe. No, it's like, man, thank God I get to give this money away.
Yeah.
When we got our giving statements, I'm not going to put numbers out there, but when we got our giving statements back from all the different churches and places we donated last year, I was like blown away, dude. I was
befuddled.
Like, oh my gosh, we gave away that much. How cool is that? You know what I mean? Cool. Like, and and now, I mean, that means the more money you make, the more you give away. But what a huge blessing. So that's how I try to approach my level of success now is, God, how much money can I give away this year?
Yeah.
And I'm making it sound, it's a little bit harder for me than I make it sound. My wife it was her thing. Like, my wife was the most faithful tither that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, she wanted to get rid of the money like the second it hit the count, like, because it's supposed to be the first, you know what I mean? And
first fruits.
Yeah. So she made it like, she wants to know right away when it hits the count. And I was like, hold on, like,
let me pay some other things first.
Yeah, let's make sure, but I found that the more like faithful that we are in our tithe and just generosity in general, like, who can we help and how can we help them? And then you'll just watch, like, that whole thing where God says, test me in this and watch me.
The only time he says test me.
Dude, it's so true. Like, it's so, and it doesn't even, I don't even know if it has to be like a tithe. It could just be being generous with people. Time. Yeah. Like, people that you see that need help here or there, or knowing a family that needs some help, and then what we've done is just by teaching our son that, you know what I mean? Like, teaching that to our kids so they can maintain that and keep that going too, is just, so that's kind of a way that I look at success now, is who else can I help?
Yeah, that's funny because, like, and I think I've told you this before, I stopped asking my kids at the end of the day, how was your day? Because it's always the same answer. I got teenagers, so it's good.
Yeah.
Silence. So then I started asking, well, who'd you help today? It's, I helped my teacher pick up papers. I held the door open for somebody at lunch or whatever the case may be. And let's not also forget, because I know you feel the same way. Success is, dude, how many lives can we impact?
Yeah.
How many people can we reach? How many hopeless souls or people that have given up can we go and reignite that fire in their soul? And I think that is a huge blessing for me. And it just shows, like, just how different I am today, because it's not all about me, right? It's not about, like Sean said, the big house, the fancy cars. I mean, those things are cool and all, but, like, how many people can I help? How many people can I impact? And I think that's a measure of success that I truly value too.
That's good. It makes me think of also about, like, having to check my motives and things. Like, why am I doing this podcast, or why do we have the mentorship, or why do we want to help people here and there? Is it because I want to appear successful, or is it because I really want to help the people that I'm helping? So, and that's something that I always have to check myself with, because don't get it twisted. Let's say we do shoes with the kids and we take a picture and post it. It feels good when 100 people are like, "Oh my God, you are doing such great things. I'm so proud of you guys." Right.
Yeah.
But I have to make sure that I don't allow that to be, what I consider, is it successful by how many people tap me on the back and say, "Hey, great job." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It needs to be about how many kids are actually being impacted by this program. And it's not just hey, let's go take pictures and post them on social media.
I mean, that's an added bonus, but I've never questioned your motives, dude. I've always thought your motives were extremely pure. Because don't get me wrong, the likes and the follows are great, right? That's how we get the word out. But that's not why we do this.
Yeah.
You know, being able to, like I said, impact kids, give kids a better future, to get to guys that are in prison that, you know, feel lost, that are feeling that their cards have been dealt and they're just playing in the hand that they have, and that there's no going back and there's no changing things. You know, being able to go give somebody hope, dude, like, you know, it's funny. I think you said last time on the last podcast that, you know, like I'm pretty good about being able to share my faith with others. Yeah. And it's because, man, I'm so desperate, dude, to want to give people that gift. Right. Because like I said, it wasn't that long ago. I've only been out 3 years and I was sitting in a cell. I wasn't necessarily hopeless, but, you know, like I was in that dark place. Yeah. And dude, that hope, man, I want to so badly just give that out to people and be like, look, dude, there's a way you can have hope. There's a way you can build. There's a way you can succeed. There's a way you can feel good again, you know, and being able to share that, man, yeah, just that melts my spirit.
And it's so
that's
true.
Good for me.
One thing that I'm having to learn how to do is when someone is there and it's available, that I notice that they need help, and then I decide to try to help that person, and then they don't kind of like go the direction that I'm recommending, or like that I'm trying to help them go in. They, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To not take it personally. And I don't think it's personally. I think it's just that it just breaks my heart because I know what that person could become or could do if they would just listen to what I'm telling them to do, you know, like.
Well, it's something that the rooms of AA actually taught me, you know, when sponsoring others. You know, there's a lot of people that you sponsor that may relapse or whatever the case may be. So my sponsor told me a golden nugget of truth, which was, man, stay out of the results. You know, our job is to plant seeds. Our job is to show the way, you know, but we can't force it. You know, it's got to be chosen. And once you can stay out of the results, you get a piece about, man, that sucks that they didn't do it, but maybe that seed's planted and it'll be watered and grown at a later time.
But I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, I was faithful to what I was supposed to. Let me read this last question for you. So it says, how do you start a nonprofit? And is it something that financially benefits you? And I'm really glad we are going to be able to answer this, because I think that's important for others to know.
So the nonprofit, the first part to a nonprofit is you have to have, what is your mission, right? Like, so
why?
The initial, your why. Like, so my initial one was, you know, we kind of have the two branches now, but originally it was like, I want to help these kids. I say, be who you needed. I wanted these kids to have somebody in their lives that can keep them from going down the path that I went. Like, I know who I needed when I was 16 years old, and it really wasn't like my dad. You know what I mean? Like, it was more of someone that I thought was cool. And I respected, and I liked what they had going on. I liked how they carried themselves, and would have gave me a message of stay away from the drugs and that type of lifestyle. Like, that's not what you want. I never came across that a single time. I don't think ever. I don't think I ever had someone that I looked up to and thought was cool and respected,
not at that age,
saying, hey bro, like, that's not the route, you know, like, so that's kind of what with the mentorship. So I guess let me get to that. So you have to have a mission, right? You file a 501c3 with the state or the government and the IRS saying that I want to be like, I want tax defer. So someone can donate to us and it comes off their taxes, right? So that's what nonprofit means. So basically all of Second Chance Mentors is ran off of donations that I collect from family and people in the community and stuff like that. As far as financially, and I get this a lot, and I get people thinking this a lot, is there's zero financial reward for me, my family, Bryan, any of our board of directors. We don't make a penny off of what we do. We make zero off of this podcast. We make zero money off the nonprofit. We make zero money off the mentorship program. It has nothing to do with money for us. So if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit because you want to make money, I would probably not get into it, because it takes a long time to get it going. For two, you're going to go a long time without making any money. And for three, you're probably going to get yourself in trouble if you're desperate for money and you're trying to do it through a nonprofit.
And if that's the case, start a for-profit business. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but a nonprofit needs to be just that. It's nonprofit. If anything, we definitely don't make any money. It costs us money. It costs us money,
which
is cool. But
we both donate a lot to this program. Like, it's not just something that we talk about. We put our own money up for it. I think the only thing I could think of maybe that we get back is when we go to dinner, when we take the kids to eat, that pays for it.
Get a meal.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Something like that. Like, I don't even buy myself shoes when the kids get shoes, you know, like there's no financial gain on it. No, don't get me wrong. It's legal. It's 100% legal if I wanted to pay myself a salary or pay us a salary. Yeah. Like we could, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is if I start taking money for it, it changes my heart posture towards what I'm doing.
Yeah. And that kind of takes away from the magic of what this is, you know, and the motivations, like you said, dude, the motivations then become different. You know, you want it to succeed so that you could have more. And it's not about us having more. It's being able to provide more for these kids or for these men that are getting out of prison.
Yeah. So that's where I would go with that. Yeah. But so there's no money made off of that or the podcast like these. We do this just to help. Actually, we pay money to be able to do the podcast. It's pretty expensive. But it's worth it, dude. If there's another avenue that I feel like that we can just provide any value. I mean, I hope that these provide value. Like I can pull up the analytics and see how many people in each prison started a podcast, how many people finished it. You know, like you can see the numbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a ton of people finishing them. So, I mean, people are watching them.
Right.
It kind of breaks my heart where I see like 2,000 people started this episode and only like 699 finished it. And then I'll look at other ones to check the numbers. And I'm like, so this must not have been a good one if not many people wanted to finish it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But again,
people get distracted too. I mean, there's
it's so true.
There's other podcasts, stuff like this. Again, stay out of the results, right?
I know. I got to stay out of the analytics.
Even if we're able to help just one person, you know, like that's, mission accomplished.
I had a guy call me the other day. I got a call. I was with my son. It was pretty cool. This call is from a prison and blah, blah, blah. And I had to put my credit card in and took the call. And this guy's like, no way. I can't believe you answered the phone. And I was like, I was wondering if I knew this person or not. And he's like, man, I just listened to the podcast. You put your phone number out there. And I bet a bunch of guys that there's no way this guy will answer. Let's try to call him. And I answered and I talked to this kid. He wants to be a personal trainer. So it was a pretty cool conversation. Awesome. It cost me $1.97. Like sign me up, dude.
$2 well invested, right?
So if you guys have any questions or if you see this and you're like, oh, I want to know this, or I have any questions about anything, forgivenafpodcast at gmail.com, or you can, have someone on the outside. I don't know if you can send emails. I think you can add us to your thing, but maybe have one of your people, your family or something, just send your question in. And you know what? Also, let them know the address as well. So if you don't have access to email and you're not able to send email, you can write letters to us. Yeah, that's good. Here at the gym, 2840 FM 157 North. 2840 FM 157 North, Suite 106. And it's Mansfield, 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 Texas, 76063. Yeah, dude, write us, man. Like, we love that. We love the interaction. When we did a fitness episode back on J-Dan Gums on Forgiven Felons podcast, we got hundreds of letters. Yeah. And I love it, dude. Like, I love it.
Yeah. And again, if you're paroling out to the Mansfield, Arlington area, you want to find out more about us, you want to come check us out, come talk to us, let us walk with you as you reintegrate into society, man. Write us a letter, man. Let us know. Well, we'll be in contact. We will write back and we'll figure it out with you.
Yeah. Let us know. Cause that's kind of what we want to get, that fresh out going where we can get people coming out. We can sign them up for resources. We want to start a support group here at the gym where we get together on an evening and just kind of go over what are people struggling with, because one of the biggest problems when you get out, or at least is finding a way to make money. You know what I mean? Yeah, like 100%. Because being broke is hard. You know what I mean? And I don't know many people that get out of prison with money. I had nothing, $17.
$50 when I showed up to parole.
I didn't even have that. So, so we want to help you be able to maneuver all that stuff, dude. Like, and if you're not from around here, you can still call us, you know what I mean? Or send us letters. We'll help you. We'll find resources for you.
Yeah.
Or however you want to do it. And if you're on the outside and listening to these, like we need your help. We need help with all sorts of stuff with a mentorship. Like we want to build this to be a big family, not just, us up here talking to you. But you got anything else?
Man, we love you. We are praying for you. And man, stay in contact with us, man. Write to us. Let us know what you're going through and stuff like that. We'll have an episode where we can answer some letters, maybe some questions, give you a shout out, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Just remember that you're loved and you're forgiven and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.
Later.